The line stretched around the block, just like it had every day for the past 3 weeks. From my food truck window, I could see the empty tables at Golden Palace across the street, the restaurant that should have been mine. My cousin Kevin stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching my customers with barely concealed rage. I gave him a little wave and turned back to my walk, where Grandma Liu's secret General Tso's chicken sizzled to perfection. I'm Mei Chen, and this is how I turned my family's betrayal into the sweetest revenge, served piping hot with a side of special sauce. 6 months ago, I thought I knew my future. I'd be taking over Golden Palace, the restaurant my grandparents had built from nothing into one of San Francisco's most beloved Chinese restaurants. I'd practically grown up in that kitchen, learning every recipe, every technique, every secret that made our food special. Watch carefully, little bird, Grandma would say, adding precise amounts of ingredients she never wrote down. The recipes are in your heart, not on paper. This is your inheritance. But I wasn't the only one who wanted that inheritance. The restaurant needs a man's leadership, my uncle declared at the family meeting after Grandma passed. Kevin has an MBA. He knows business. I stood there stunned as they handed over my grandparents' legacy to my cousin, a guy who never cooked anything more complicated than instant ramen. Don't worry, May, Kevin smirked. You can keep your job as line cook. Someone needs to do the actual work while I handle the important stuff. I quit that night. My mother begged me to reconsider. Be reasonable, May. At least you'll still be part of the restaurant. Part of it? I laughed bitterly. I was supposed to own it. Grandma trained me for 10 years. Kevin doesn't even know the difference between Sichuan and Cantonese cuisine. He has an MBA, she repeated, as if those 3 letters could make up for decades of experience, and he's the oldest son. Son. That was what it always came down to. Never mind that I dedicated my life to the restaurant. Never mind that Grandma had chosen me. Never mind that I was the only one who knew. I stopped that thought. They'd forgotten one crucial detail in their rush to hand everything to Kevin. One detail that would change everything. The recipes. The real ones. See, Golden Palace's success wasn't just about good Chinese food. It was about Grandma Liu's secret recipes, recipes she'd spent 50 years perfecting. Recipes that had people driving from hours away just to taste them. Recipes that only existed in 2 places, my memory and a small red notebook hidden in Grandma's apartment. The day after they gave the restaurant to Kevin, I visited Grandma's place one last time. Behind the loose brick in her kitchen wall, exactly where she told me it would be, I found her notebook. The first few pages contained basic recipes. Anyone could read those. But the real secrets were written in our family's dialect in Grandma's cryptic shorthand. To anyone else, they were gibberish, but I'd spent years learning to decode them. My hands shook as I read through the pages. Every secret technique, every special ingredient ratio, every little twist that made our food legendary, it was all here. And more importantly, it was all mine. Kevin might have the restaurant, but he didn't have this. That night, I started planning. I took out a loan, bought a food truck, and spent 2 weeks retrofitting it into a mobile kitchen. I decorated it with red and gold dragons, just like the ones that had adorned Golden Palace's walls when my grandparents first opened. My cousin laughed when he saw it parked across from the restaurant. A food truck? Really, May? How desperate can you get? I just smiled and started prepping my ingredients. The first day, I made Grandma's famous General Tso's chicken. The real version, not the simplified one they served at the restaurant. The smell wafted across the street, drawing curious customers. By noon, I had a small line. By dinner, the line wrapped around the block. This tastes just like Golden Palace's food used to. One regular customer exclaimed. Before it changed, I mean. Because that was the other thing. Kevin had been modernizing the menu, cutting corners, using cheaper ingredients, simplifying recipes he didn't understand. I watched through my food truck window as Golden Palace's longtime customers discovered that their favorite dishes didn't taste quite right anymore. Watched as they tried my food and realized this was what they remembered, the authentic flavors they'd loved for years. How are you doing this? Kevin demanded after the first week, when his lunch crowd had dwindled to almost nothing. Those are our recipes. I stirred my wok calmly. No, Kevin. They're my recipes. Grandma gave them to me. The ones you're using, those are just the basics. His face reddened. You're lying. All the recipes are in the restaurant's files. I laughed. You really think Grandma wrote down her real secrets where anyone could find them? The special ingredients? The exact timing? The techniques she spent 50 years perfecting? He stormed back to the restaurant. That night, I got calls from various family members, demanding I share the recipes, accusing me of betraying the family. I let them go to voicemail. The next morning, I opened my truck's window to find an even longer line waiting. Word was spreading. The real Golden Palace taste could now be found at a food truck called Little Bird's Kitchen. Kevin stood in his doorway, watching my success with growing desperation. He tried copying my dishes, changing his menu to match mine, even sending his cooks to order everything on my menu so they could analyze it. But he was missing the most important ingredient, the knowledge that could only come from years of standing beside Grandma, learning every subtle detail that made her food special. My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from my uncle. May, be reasonable. The family needs those recipes. The restaurant is suffering. I turned back to my walk, adding the secret blend of spices that made our kung pao chicken unforgettable. The line outside my window grew longer. This was just the beginning. After a month, my food truck's success was impossible to ignore. I'd had to hire 3 assistants just to keep up with demand. Every day, the line got longer, while Golden Palace's dining room got emptier. Kevin tried everything. He slashed prices. He hired new chefs. He even put up a sign claiming he had the original recipes. But his customers knew better. One taste was all it took to recognize that something crucial was missing. Then came the food critics' review. Little Bird's Kitchen serves what might be the most authentic Chinese cuisine in San Francisco. Each dish carries the depth and complexity that made Golden Palace legendary in its heyday. Meanwhile, the once beloved restaurant across the street has become a pale imitation of its former glory. The article went viral. My line now stretched for 3 blocks. That's when Kevin finally snapped. I was preparing for the lunch rush when he stormed up to my truck, waving the newspaper. You're destroying the family business. No, Kevin. You did that when you thought an MBA was more important than actual cooking experience. This isn't fair. Those recipes belong to Golden Palace. I turned down the heat under my wok. Those recipes belong to me. Grandma gave them to me. You got the restaurant. Congratulations. But the heart and soul of Golden Palace? That was never yours to take. I'll sue you. He threatened. Ow. You'll what? I cut him off. Sue me for recipes that were never written down in any official document, for knowledge passed down through oral tradition. Good luck with that. A crowd was gathering, watching the drama unfold. I recognized many of them as former Golden Palace regulars. The family will never forgive you for this, he hissed. The family? I laughed. The same family that dismissed 10 years of training because I wasn't the oldest son. The family that handed over my inheritance to someone who'd never even worked in the kitchen. Just then, my uncle appeared, looking significantly less proud than he had during that family meeting. May, he said, trying to sound authoritative despite his obvious desperation. We need to talk. The restaurant, it's in trouble. I kept cooking, the familiar motions of preparing Grandma's hot and sour soup keeping me calm. I'm busy. Lunch rush is starting. Please, his voice cracked slightly. Golden Palace will go bankrupt if this continues. Is that what you want? To destroy your grandparents' legacy. I slammed my spatula down. Their legacy? Their legacy was perfect food made with love and dedication. Their legacy was 50 years of recipes perfected through hard work and passion. Their legacy, I gestured at my food truck, is right here. We made a mistake, my uncle admitted quietly. We should have respected your grandmother's wishes. Yes, I agreed. You should have. Kevin stepped forward. Then help us fix it. Give us the recipes back. I looked at them both, my proud uncle finally humbled, my arrogant cousin desperate for what he'd never bothered to learn. The recipes were never just about ingredients and instructions, I said. They were about dedication, about spending years learning every subtle detail, every tiny adjustment, about understanding why each step matters. I stirred the soup, inhaling the perfect balance of flavors that had taken Grandma decades to perfect. You wanted quick success without doing the work. You thought running the restaurant was just about business plans and profit margins, but Grandma knew better. That's why she spent 10 years teaching me, and that's why she left me her real legacy. What do you want? My uncle asked. Name your price. I smiled. I don't want money. I want what was promised to me, what I earned. The restaurant? Kevin protested. But, not just the restaurant, I corrected. Complete control. No family interference. No MBA-inspired modernization. Golden Palace goes back to what it was meant to be, a place where food is an art, not just a business. My uncle looked at the line of customers stretching around the block, then at the empty tables visible through Golden Palace's windows. Done, he said. Kevin started to protest, but one look at the restaurant's books silenced him. They were hemorrhaging money, and everyone knew it. 2 months later, I stood in Golden Palace's kitchen, my kitchen now. The dragons on the walls had been restored to their original glory. The dining room was full again, the air rich with the authentic aromas of Grandma's cuisine. I kept my food truck too, run by the staff I trained. Some customers still preferred the casual atmosphere, and I saw no reason to fix what wasn't broken. Kevin? He took a job with a corporate restaurant chain, where his MBA could be put to better use. My uncle stopped talking about proper succession and male leadership. And me? I stood at my wok, adding the secret ingredients that made our kung pao chicken special, just like Grandma had taught me. On the wall hung a new photo, Grandma in her kitchen, young and proud, next to one of me at my food truck. A server poked his head in. "Chef, there's a food critic here. Says she wants to know the secret to your recipes." I smiled, thinking of the little red notebook safely stored away. Tell her the same thing my grandmother always said. The secret ingredient is patience, and the willingness to earn what you want instead of just taking it. Later that night, as I closed up the restaurant, I looked across the street at my food truck, still serving customers under the glow of its red and gold lights. 2 restaurants, 2 successes, both built on the foundation of Grandma's real legacy. Not just recipes, but the understanding that true mastery can't be stolen or given. It has to be earned. My phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. "Happy now? You got everything you wanted." I looked around at my kitchen, at the dining room full of happy customers, at the dishes being prepared exactly as they should be. "No, Kevin," I typed back. "I got everything I earned." Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's proving that success comes from dedication, not entitlement. And sometimes the sweetest victory is served one perfect dish at a time. As I locked up for the night, I could almost hear Grandma's voice. "Well done, little bird. Well done."
Kylie Rogers was lost in thought, gazing out the hospital ward window, enjoying a peaceful moment away from the hustle. Suddenly, Nurse Shelley Hand's sharp voice cut through the silence. Shelley had a way of making her presence felt, often not in the most pleasant ways. "What are you up to, Kylie?" Shelley asked, her tone laced with disapproval, standing there with her hands on her hips. Kylie turned, a bit startled but composed. "Just taking a quick look outside," she responded calmly, caught off guard by Shelley's abrupt questioning. "And why is that during work hours?" Shelley pressed on, her eyes squinting in suspicion, as if Kylie owed her a solid explanation for her brief distraction. Kylie searched for the right words. "I've noticed a dog," she began, her confidence returning. "It keeps showing up at the hospital entrance, just stands there day after day." Curiosity piqued, Shelley walked over to the window, peering out. "I don't see any dog," she said, turning back with a knowing smirk, almost as if she had caught Kylie in a lie. Shelley had always been tough on Kylie, driven by a hidden jealousy of Kylie's natural warmth and connection with everyone around her. Unlike Shelley, Kylie had a gift for making patients and staff feel at ease, something Shelley, with all her experience, couldn't quite match. In her 2 years as an orderly and only a few months at this hospital, Kylie had quickly become a favorite. Her kind presence contrasted sharply with the unease that often followed Shelley around. Shelley shook her head in disbelief and walked away, her usual tactics having no effect on Kylie, whose calm demeanor remained unshaken. Kylie's strength and kindness were deeply rooted in her upbringing, shaped by her grandmother, who was more than just family to her. She was Kylie's mentor, confidant, and greatest influence. Raised in a unique household by her grandmother, Kylie grew up understanding that her parents were just not ready to be parents. This lack of conventional family structure didn't leave her feeling deprived. Instead, it strengthened the bond between her and her grandmother, creating a foundation of love and understanding that influenced Kylie deeply. The compassion and patience Kylie showed every day at the hospital were a reflection of the life lessons and care she experienced growing up. When her grandmother grew older, Kylie naturally stepped into the role of caregiver, a role that seemed like second nature to her. The experience not only brought them closer but also equipped Kylie with skills that would later define her career. Meanwhile, Shelley paused in the corridor, observing Kylie from a distance before heading towards the nurse's station. It was well known among the staff that Shelley had a unique relationship with James Wellington, the department head. Despite his marital status, Shelley seemed to navigate their dynamic with a certain confidence. As Kylie continued her duties, thoughts of the mysterious dog that kept appearing at the hospital entrance occupied her mind. After refreshing the water in her mop bucket, she moved on to clean the more prestigious section of the hospital, the VIP rooms, pondering over the curious presence of the dog and what it might signify. In the VIP section, Kylie cleaned the rooms of well-off patients who enjoyed perks like private rooms equipped with TVs and internet access. Despite these luxuries, Kylie believed that everyone deserved the same level of care. As she entered one of these rooms, she gently addressed the occupant. "Excuse me, Mr. Clark. May I clean up in here? I'll be quick and out of your way in no time." Mr. Clark, looking tired but appreciative, responded warmly, "Of course, Kylie, go ahead. You're not bothering me at all." Grateful for his understanding, Kylie got to work. Over the weeks Mr. Clark had been in the hospital, Kylie noticed his solitude with few visitors coming by. One day she struck up a conversation with him and discovered that behind his quiet demeanor was a man eager to chat when engaged in the right topics. Their conversations revealed Walter's hidden loneliness, prompting Kylie to keep him company whenever she could. However, when the head nurse noticed their frequent interactions, she inquired about Walter's identity. Kylie learned from her that Walter was a wealthy businessman who had chosen this public hospital for its simplicity, despite his ability to afford more luxurious care. After this discovery, the head nurse advised Kylie to limit her interactions with Walter and focus on her duties. Respecting her superior's wishes, Kylie complied, ensuring that her visits to Walter's room were brief and strictly professional, apologizing for any disturbance and quickly attending to her tasks before leaving. As Kylie did her job, Walter, looking a bit more tired than usual, asked with a weak smile, "Kylie, could you tell me what the weather's like outside? I haven't had the strength to get up today, and I'm missing the view from my window." Kylie glanced out the window before answering. "It's a bit of a mixed bag today, Mr. Clark. It's not fully sunny, but there's a bit of light coming through." "That's nice to hear. A bit of sunshine always lifts the spirits, doesn't it?" Walter remarked, trying to find some comfort in her words. As Kylie nodded and continued her cleaning, the tranquility of the moment was abruptly interrupted. The door burst open, and in walked a woman with a commanding presence, her expression one of barely contained impatience. It was Donna, Walter's wife, known for her sharp tongue and even sharper temper. Without any pleasantries, Donna snapped, "Can't I ever have a moment alone with my husband? It seems like this room is always crowded." Kylie, accustomed to Donna's abrupt entrances, gave a small nod and quickly made her way out, not wanting to become the target of her displeasure. She had heard rumors from her colleagues about Donna's difficult nature and the speculations surrounding her motives given Walter's wealth. Lindsay, another orderly, often commented on the situation with a hint of cynicism, suggesting Donna stood to gain significantly from her husband's illness. Kylie, however, preferred to steer clear of such gossip. She believed in focusing on her work and maintaining a professional distance from the personal affairs of the patients and their families. Yet today's encounter with Donna left a sour taste in her mouth, reminding her of the complex web of relationships and motives that often surrounded her wealthy patients. Despite this, Kylie remained committed to her role, providing care and maintaining the cleanliness of the hospital, a sanctuary for healing and hope amidst the personal dramas unfolding within its walls. Kylie decided to step away and give the couple some privacy. Placing her cleaning bucket quietly in the corridor, she couldn't help but overhear parts of Walter and Donna's conversation through the door left slightly open. Kylie felt awkward being an unintentional eavesdropper to such a personal discussion, yet she remained nearby, waiting for the right moment to finish her cleaning duties. Donna's voice was the more dominant in the exchange, pushing for her point. "Walter, why are you against Mark attending the meeting? He's your son too, in every way that matters," she implored. Walter's response was weary but firm. "Donna, calling Mark my son doesn't magically erase his actions. I've tried to guide him since he was a teenager, but it seems all in vain. Just last week, he wrecked another car, and before that, he was in trouble at the casino. Is this the behavior of a Clark, even if by adoption?" Donna seemed momentarily taken aback by Walter's blunt assessment, but she quickly recovered. "Please, Walter, let's not be too hard on him. I'll have a word with Mark. I'm sure he'll turn around after this," Donna insisted. Walter's skepticism was palpable even through the closed door. "The only changes I've seen in Mark are for the worse. Nowadays, I dread every phone call, fearing it's either the police, the hospital, or another bill for damages he's caused," he said, his voice tinged with a mix of frustration and fatigue. Despite Walter's clear stance, Donna wasn't deterred. She continued to advocate for her son, trying to soften her husband's perspective on Mark's troubling behavior. Meanwhile, Kylie sought a brief respite and struck up a conversation with Robert, the janitor, outside. "Morning, Robert. Have you noticed a large, light-colored dog hanging around here lately?" Robert looked at Kylie curiously before responding. "Morning, Kylie. What's got you interested in a dog all of a sudden?" Kylie's eyes brightened, relieved to know her observations were validated. "So he is real. I thought I was imagining things," she exclaimed. Robert chuckled. "You've got quite the imagination, Kylie. Yes, there's a dog. Named him Mickey. His owner is a bit of a loner, reminded me of Mickey. They say dogs bring comfort to the lonely." Kylie's curiosity grew. "What happened to Mickey's owner? Is he okay?" The janitor's expression turned somber. "It's a sad story. The old man's in ICU. He was hit by a car right after he left the store one evening. They say Mickey knew something was wrong, broke out to find him, and lay beside him until help arrived. Now, Mickey waits outside, looking up at the hospital windows. I've been letting him stay in my shed. It's the least I can do." Kylie's heart went out to the dog and his owner, and she admired Robert's kindness. "That's really compassionate of you, Robert," she said, her voice filled with genuine respect. Later, drawn by curiosity, Kylie approached the shed. She barely caught a glimpse of a shiny black nose through a small opening. "Hello there, Mickey. You're quite the handsome fellow, aren't you? And those eyes, they're so expressive. Almost human," she cooed softly. At the sound of her voice, Mickey cautiously stepped out, nudging Kylie's hand with his nose in a gentle greeting. "You're a good boy, Mickey, so loyal to your owner. Don't worry, our doctors are some of the best. Your owner will be up and about in no time," Kylie reassured him, her voice soothing and full of hope. As Kylie finished petting Mickey, she noticed Donna striding confidently out of the clinic. Donna's luxury car stood out in the parking lot, a stark reminder of the financial gulf between them. Time to get back to work, Kylie thought to herself, giving a friendly wave to Robert. "Take care, Robert, and don't worry, Mickey. I'll drop by later. I've got some of my grandma's pies for lunch, and I'll make sure you get a taste," she promised, her words bringing a wag to Mickey's tail. Kylie headed back inside, and upon re-entering Walter's room, she was greeted by his appreciative smile. "Kylie, glad you're back. Sorry about earlier. Didn't mean to throw you off with our little family drama," Walter apologized. "It's quite all right, Mr. Clark. Family discussions are important. I completely understand," Kylie reassured him, picking up where she left off with her cleaning. Walter watched her for a moment, a contemplative look crossing his face. Kylie could feel his eyes on her, which made her focus all the more on her tasks. Walter seemed to be wrestling with something internally, hesitating before finally deciding to speak up, breaking the silence cautiously. "Kylie, when are you planning to take some time off? Got any vacation coming up?" Walter inquired. Kylie paused, a bit puzzled by the question. "I might take some time in December, so it's still a few months away. Why do you ask, Mr. Clark?" she responded, her curiosity piqued. Walter was suddenly overcome by a coughing fit, but once it passed, he looked at Kylie with a seriousness that took her by surprise. "I need a favor, Kylie. It's become clear to me that there aren't many people I can truly rely on," he admitted. Kylie was taken aback, unsure how she, a simple orderly, could be of assistance to someone like Walter. He sighed, then made an unexpected request. "I'd like you to pretend to be my daughter for a little while. It would be temporary, and of course, I'd make sure you're well compensated for your time," Walter proposed, his request leaving Kylie in a state of disbelief and confusion. Kylie's surprise was evident as she accidentally dropped her mop, the sound echoing through the room. "Pretend to be your daughter, Mr. Clark. Are you serious?" she asked, her voice a mix of confusion and disbelief. Walter's expression was earnest, his tone apologetic yet urgent. "I know this sounds unusual, Kylie, but it's not a joke. My new business partners place great value on family connections. They often involve family members in social events as a way to build trust before finalizing any deals." Kylie, still trying to wrap her head around the request, questioned further. "But why me? I don't see how I fit into your business dealings, Mr. Clark." Walter took a moment to explain, his demeanor indicating a preference for clarity over haste. "You see, Kylie, these partners are planning a special event for the adult children of everyone involved in the deal. It's meant to foster unity and loyalty among us. But here's my dilemma. I don't have anyone to represent me. My stepson is, frankly, unreliable. His behavior is unpredictable, and I can't risk him causing a scene. That's why I thought of creating a backstory about having a daughter from a previous marriage. You'd be perfect for the role, given you're not known in our business circles." Kylie couldn't help but respond with a touch of sarcasm. "Well, that's certainly a novel approach to business networking." Walter cracked a smile, relieved to see a flicker of interest from Kylie. "Exactly, and I assure you it's all in good fun. You'll enjoy the event, and no one will be the wiser about our little arrangement." Kylie's skepticism was clear as she voiced her concerns. "But why choose me for this role, Mr. Clark? It's kind of you to consider me, but aren't there professionals for this sort of thing? An actor, perhaps?" Walter seemed momentarily taken aback by the directness of her questions, pausing to collect his thoughts. "I've thought about that, Kylie, but actors have a certain air about them. It's their job to pretend, and that can come across as insincere. I'm looking for authenticity, someone who hasn't been jaded by the trappings of wealth. That's where you come in. Besides, I have a major surgery on the horizon, and the outcome is uncertain. Please take some time to think about it. I'll make arrangements with your supervisors to ensure you're not penalized for taking the time off," he explained, a hint of urgency in his voice. Kylie couldn't help but be slightly moved by Walter's earnestness. The idea of stepping into the shoes of a wealthy businessman's daughter was both daunting and exhilarating. For a fleeting moment, she allowed herself to indulge in the fantasy, envisioning the glamorous life that could be hers, even if only for a short while. Yet the reality of her situation quickly brought her back down to earth. "Walter, I'm flattered by your offer, really I am, but I just can't see myself fitting in with that crowd. I wouldn't even know how to begin blending in. I don't have the wardrobe, the right look, or the mannerisms. Attending such an event in my current state would be a disaster. How could I possibly pull this off?" Kylie expressed her doubts, her voice tinged with a mix of incredulity and genuine concern. Walter, with the keen insight of a seasoned negotiator, sensed Kylie's hesitation and decided to address it head-on. "Kylie, let me take care of everything. You won't have to worry about a thing. We'll find you a beautiful dress, get your hair and nails done, the whole 9 yards. I'm asking for your help because I'm genuinely in a bind. With my surgery looming, I'm uncertain about the future, and I can't depend on Mark or Donna in this matter. I need someone reliable, and from the moment I met you, I knew you were the right choice for this," he explained earnestly, hoping to sway her decision. Kylie felt a mix of emotions as she listened to Walter's plea. His confidence in her brought a warm smile to her face, and the thought of stepping into such an unfamiliar role was both intimidating and exciting. "Mr. Clark, I'm touched by your trust in me, and the idea does sound like an adventure. But my main concern is my job here. We're already short-staffed, and with Lindsay's frequent absences, it's tough. Even if the head nurse agrees, I'm not sure the department head will approve my leave under the current circumstances, she shared, her enthusiasm tempered by the reality of her responsibilities at the hospital. Walter assured Kylie with a confident tone, "Leave your concerns about work to me, Kylie. I have some influence at this clinic, given my contributions over the years. I'll speak with the head nurse and the department head. And as for my own health, well, let's just hope for the best." Kylie, ever the optimist, quickly interjected, "Oh, Walter, don't talk like that. You're going to pull through. You've got so much more to do, I'm sure of it." Walter offered a wry smile in response. "I appreciate your positivity, Kylie, but reality is a bit more complicated. I just wish the hospital could offer the same level of care to everyone, not just those in VIP rooms. If I recover, I promise to work on making that happen." Their conversation was abruptly interrupted by the entrance of the head nurse, Mrs. Han. "Kylie, have you been camping out in here? The corridors aren't going to clean themselves. Do I need to remind you what Mr. Wellington will say if he finds even a speck of dust?" Walter, catching Mrs. Han's eye, interjected with a calm authority, "Please, Mrs. Han, let's keep our voices down. I actually have a favor to ask, something I'd like you to pass on to James." The head nurse's posture stiffened at the mention of the department head, but Walter continued, "I'm requesting that Kylie be given a week off. It's quite urgent, and I'm confident you can arrange this swiftly." Mrs. Han, taken aback, questioned, "A week off? But who will cover her duties?" Walter, unfazed, replied, "I trust that's something you can manage. Should there be any resistance from James, I'll take the matter up with the chief physician. I'm sure we'll find a solution one way or another." His tone left little room for argument, clearly indicating he was prepared to use his influence to ensure Kylie's leave was approved. Mrs. Han, visibly irritated yet silent in the face of Walter's influence, managed a curt nod before leaving the room, the door closing with a loud slam. Alone, she couldn't help but stew in her frustration, puzzled and annoyed by Walter's apparent favoritism towards Kylie, a newcomer she had never warmed to. Is Walter losing his senses over that girl? If he weren't so ill, I'd suspect more than just generosity at play here, Mrs. Han mused, her mind racing with suspicion. I better inform Donna about this development. She needs to keep a closer watch on her husband before he complicates things further. With that, Mrs. Han headed straight to James Wellington, the department head, to relay Walter's request. James, well aware of Walter's significant contributions to the clinic, saw no benefit in opposing the request and risk antagonizing a valuable benefactor. "Mrs. Han, inform Walter that I'll ensure everything is arranged to his satisfaction," James stated matter-of-factly, his demeanor indicating a desire to conclude the matter swiftly. The exchange between Mrs. Han and James was cold, devoid of any personal connection, a stark reminder of their strained relationship. Mrs. Han left the office with a heavy heart, feeling undervalued and dismissed. A far cry from the closeness she once shared with James. As she stepped into the corridor, Mrs. Han quickly composed herself and reached for her phone, dialing Donna's number with a sense of urgency. It was time to alert Walter's wife to the unfolding situation, hoping to preempt any further surprises from her husband's unexpected actions. Donna's voice was laced with casual indifference as she answered the phone. "Shelley, what's the urgency? Is this about Walter? Tell me he's still among the living." "Of course he's still with us, Donna, but there's something peculiar going on. Walter's taken a fancy to one of our new orderlies, Kylie, and now he's planning to send her off to represent him at some business gathering," Shelley explained, her tone a mix of disbelief and irritation. Donna's response was tinged with sarcasm. "And what, has he developed some sort of affection for this girl? She's practically from the backwoods. Is that the one you saw earlier mopping the floors?" "Yes, that's Kylie. For some reason, Walter's got it in his head to transform her into some kind of high society lady. You might want to look into this," Shelley advised, her voice lowering as she glanced around her busy surroundings. After ending the call, Donna sat in silence, her mind racing. She had harbored hopes that Walter would warm up to the idea of sending Mark, his stepson, to the event, viewing it as an opportunity for Mark to forge valuable connections and establish himself as a successor to Walter's business empire. Given Walter's precarious health and the uncertainty surrounding his upcoming surgery, Donna felt an urgent need to secure her and her son's future. Does Walter think his days might be numbered? Who will take the reins once he's gone? She mused to herself. Having a woman lead the company is one thing, but let's be realistic, the business world doesn't always welcome women with open arms. And sure, Mark has his flaws, but who doesn't? Everyone has their youthful indiscretions. It's not like Walter was a saint in his younger days. Now's not the time for him to play the moral arbiter. Donna's contemplative silence was broken by her son Mark's casual request for money, his plans for the evening laid out with no hint of restraint. "Mom, can I have some cash? I need to go out tonight. I'm tapped out, Mom. Walter confiscated my gold card, and I've got plans with the guys tonight." With a sigh, Donna turned to face him, her expression a mix of frustration and concern. "Mark, here's the money, but listen, can't you ease up on the nights out? Walter's been scheming again, and it involves that party I mentioned before." Mark's interest seemed to wane. "What about it?" Donna seized the moment to emphasize her point, painting a vivid picture of Kylie. "Imagine this. Walter's choosing an orderly over you for the event. A real country girl, looking like she stepped out of a pastoral scene, not someone who belongs at a business gathering." Mark's mood visibly darkened at the mention. "Walter's always causing trouble, isn't he? But he won't be around forever. Maybe it's time we made sure his affairs are in order, especially the will. You know how these businessmen get, wanting to donate everything to charity as they near the end." Donna tried to brush off her son's cynicism. "Walter's not foolish, Mark. He wouldn't just give everything away." Yet Mark's retort hit home. "Oh, come on, Mom. Don't act like you haven't noticed how much he spends on those shelters and animal rescue places." The reality of Mark's words weighed heavily on Donna. Without hesitation, she rummaged through her purse, pulling out a well-worn notebook to find Tim Iverson's number. After a brief conversation outlining the urgency of the situation, she requested the lawyer's assistance in drafting a will, hoping to secure a meeting at her residence at the earliest opportunity. The lawyer, Mr. Iverson, seemed taken aback by Donna's urgency regarding Walter's will, questioning the necessity of the situation. Donna, with a sense of gravity in her voice, painted a grim picture of Walter's health prospects and the looming surgery, its success far from guaranteed. Mr. Iverson, though surprised by the turn of events, agreed to make arrangements for an expedited visit, his thoughts lingering on Walter's unexpected fragility. Meanwhile, Kylie braced herself for a reprimand from the department head, assuming that Walter's unusual request had stirred trouble. However, she was met with an unexpected turn of events when James not only approved her leave, but extended it, leaving her both grateful and surprised. Walter, confined to his hospital bed, was lost in thought, meticulously planning Kylie's introduction to his business circle. Aware of the delicate nature of his plan and Kylie's inexperience, he was cautious, considering every detail and jotting down notes to aid his faltering memory. The calm of his planning was shattered when Donna, accompanied by Mark and the lawyer Tim Iverson, entered his room. Walter's astonishment at their arrival, especially under such circumstances, was profound, challenging his belief that life could no longer surprise him at his age. "Donna, Mark, what is this about?" Walter asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Donna stepped forward, her expression resolute. "Walter, we need to talk about your will. I appreciate your concern, but bringing a notary here now feels rather premature, doesn't it?" Walter's voice was calm, but the underlying tension was palpable. He glanced at the notary, who seemed uncomfortable with the situation, then back at his wife, searching for sincerity in her proposition. Donna continued, unfazed by Walter's skepticism. "It's just a precaution, Walter. With everything at stake, your surgery, the uncertainty, it's prudent to have everything in order. It's not about doubting your recovery, it's about being prepared. We can discard the will later and celebrate its irrelevance, but for now, let's secure peace of mind." Walter weighed her words, finding a shred of reason amid the discomfort. It was true his businesses and assets needed a successor, a steward to carry on his legacy should the worst occur. Yet, the candidate before him left much to be desired. His gaze fell on Mark, who seemed almost too eager, as if he had already claimed the inheritance in his mind. Walter's reflections on Mark were tinged with disappointment. The boy's sense of entitlement and lack of discipline were glaring. Then there was Donna, whose penchant for luxury and confrontation was at odds with Walter's own values. He had always preferred simplicity, a trait forged in his years as an engineer, where functionality and efficiency were paramount. His choice in attire, his disdain for flashy displays of wealth, all were testaments to a life lived valuing substance over style. Walter found himself at a crossroads, his trust in his immediate family wavering. The prospect of drafting a will under these circumstances was daunting, not just for the legal implications but for the personal revelations it unearthed about the people closest to him. Despite the turmoil swirling in his mind, Walter ultimately decided to leave his estate to Donna. He understood the inevitable, that she would, in turn, provide for Mark, despite his reservations about his stepson's capabilities and intentions. "All right, Walter. If you're ready, please sign here," Tim Iverson directed, pointing to the necessary lines on the document, his voice steady despite the visible tension on his brow. Tim had known Walter for years, witnessing his vigor and determination. Seeing him now, diminished by illness, was disconcerting. As Walter's pen moved across the paper, sealing his decision, he felt a profound sense of finality. He knew that this act could potentially hand over his life's work to someone whose values starkly contrasted with his own. The thought of his distant relatives inheriting his wealth crossed his mind, but the idea seemed hollow, disconnected from any meaningful legacy. Donna's reaction was telling. Her smile, unwavering throughout the process, seemed to Walter not just a display of support, but a harrowing indication of her anticipation. In that moment, Walter saw her in a new light, her joy appearing almost predatory against the backdrop of his vulnerability. Meanwhile, Kylie, blissfully unaware of the drama unfolding around Walter's will, was making plans for her unexpected time off. She looked forward to spending the eventful week ahead as Walter had requested and cherished the idea of visiting her grandmother, who had always been her anchor. The thought of bringing Mickey, the loyal dog she had grown fond of, to her grandmother's house warmed her heart. In her simple plans and genuine concern for her loved ones, Kylie found a stark contrast to the complex and often cold machinations of the world Walter was entangled in. The rest of the shift seemed to pass in the blink of an eye, and before Kylie left for the day, she made good on her promise to visit Walter. Despite the effects of his medication, Walter was alert and eager to hear about the outcome. "So, Kylie, did everything fall into place?" Walter asked. "Yes, Walter, it did. Everything went smoothly. Can you believe it? I managed to secure a whole month off," Kylie replied with excitement. Walter nodded approvingly. "I knew you could do it. Here, take this," he said, handing her a notebook. "I've outlined your cover story for the event," Walter said, handing Kylie a notebook. "It's everything you'll need to say while you're there, and I've included the contact information of someone who can assist you with getting settled and buying suitable clothes." Kylie's gratitude overflowed. "Thank you so much, Walter. Without your help, I wouldn't even dare to dream of such an opportunity," she expressed sincerely. Walter smiled warmly. He found himself enjoying Kylie's company more with each interaction. If circumstances were different, he might have pursued her. Her kindness and inner strength were evident, casting a light that warmed his heart. With a sense of contentment washing over him, Walter felt the urge to rest. As Kylie stepped out of the clinic, Robert, the elderly janitor, approached her with a somber expression. "Kylie, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his voice heavy with emotion. "The owner of Mickey passed away today." Poor thing, Mickey sensed it somehow. He started trembling and then howled mournfully for a while. "I've kept him in the storage room to avoid trouble with the chief physician, but it's no place for him. He'll waste away from grief in there. Do you think you could take him, just for a while? At least you have a house. Mickey's a smart dog, he won't be a bother. He's trained to relieve himself where you show him," Robert pleaded, his concern evident in his eyes. Kylie gazed sadly at the dog sitting at Robert's feet, his head hanging low. What if he doesn't want to come with me? I can't force him. I'm sorry, Robert, but I think Mickey might not agree to go with me, she responded with a hint of concern. He will, don't you worry. He likes you, I could tell right away. Just be gentle with him, scratch behind his ears often. Animals, just like people, need support and understanding, Robert reassured her with confidence. Kylie smiled and gently beckoned Mickey with her finger. Come on, boy, come to me. The dog hesitated for a moment before slowly rising to his feet and cautiously approaching her, sniffing her hands. Kylie exclaimed in surprise, Oh, how could I forget? I promised you Grandma's pies. Here, I got you one with cabbage and potato. If you like it, I have another one we can share together. Mickey sniffed the treat but didn't eat it. He was probably still grieving, but it seemed like he listened to Kylie. So be it, Kylie. Please take him, Robert said, nodding in approval. After a brief moment of consideration, Kylie gently patted Mickey on the back of his neck and led him toward the hospital yard's exit. The dog obediently followed beside her, as if he had known Kylie for months or even years. Seeing her granddaughter on the doorstep with a large dog, Loretta recoiled in fear. Oh my dear, who have you brought? Don't be scared, Grandma. This is Mickey, an amazing dog. His owner was hit by a car a few days ago, and today, well, he passed away. The dog started howling outside the clinic windows, Kylie explained, trying to reassure her grandmother. I had to take him. What a loyal dog. I thought such things only happened in movies, Kylie said, her voice tinged with amazement. Monica, Kylie's grandmother, gave her a warm smile. Well, if that's the case, let him stay. We'll manage somehow. It's not like we're eating our last piece of bread. We'll take him in, she said. As Robert had predicted, Mickey settled quietly into Kylie's home, finding a comfortable spot near the door. On his first day there, he refused to eat and spent the evening softly whining, occasionally scratching the door with his paw. However, by nightfall, Mickey had calmed down and drifted into an uneasy sleep. The following morning, Kylie woke up earlier than usual and began reviewing the fictional biography Walter had hastily outlined for her. Essentially, the cover story was straightforward. From a young age, Kylie had lived in a rural town with her mother and grandmother. After completing school, she embarked on a quest to find her long-lost father and inform him of her existence. Walter's narrative seemed logical and almost foolproof. In today's world, unexpected dares from previous relationships were hardly uncommon. After pondering for a while, Kylie dialed the number provided by Walter and soon found herself chatting with a woman named Darcy. As it turned out, Darcy had been working as a secretary at Walter's company for many years. She was a loyal and dedicated employee with a knack for fashion and etiquette. Meanwhile, Donna was giving Mark instructions on how to proceed. Son, you should keep an eye on Darcy, your father's secretary. He'll likely enlist her services to help that poor girl. I'm pretty sure they're going to visit this beauty salon. Here's the address. Drop by and tell the girls to give that country bumpkin the special treatment. You understand. And say hi from me. They've been living off my generosity for a long time, so I think they won't disappoint. They'll give her such a hairstyle that she'll be avoided from a mile away, Donna instructed her son before sending him off. Mark's eyes gleamed with malice. He relished his mother's idea, especially after learning about his stepfather's plans. You just wait, Walter. You're going to regret this. Ah, how you'll regret it, Mark muttered quietly to himself. Mark had always harbored a deep resentment toward his stepfather, regarding him as nothing more than a lowly engineer and blaming him for all his troubles. As if it were Walter who had recklessly gotten behind the wheel or slapped an innocent bystander. Donna seldom spoke of Mark's biological father, but rumors among the business elite suggested he had ventured into a world of crime and taken a dangerous path. However, there was more to the story that neither Walter nor his stepson were aware of. Behind the scenes, Donna had been secretly meeting with her ex-husband, viewing him as the epitome of masculinity and an alpha male. Living a normal married life with Jack was out of the question. With him, Donna's entire existence would be consumed by assembling prison packages and paying off gambling debts. Walter, on the other hand, was intelligent, cultured, and wealthy. Although Donna felt no genuine affection for him, she recognized that love alone wouldn't put food on the table. And for that, she had Jack, time-tested and as fierce as a lone wolf. Donna fantasized about seeing Jack take Walter's place alongside Mark. It would be the perfect alliance of experience and power, wisdom and youthful vigor, a match made in heaven. Jack would swiftly eliminate any competition. Lately, Donna and Jack had been meeting more frequently, as if sensing the inevitable resolution brought about by Walter's potential demise. "What a robust, healthy, tough guy, still kicking, huh?" Jack would inquire about Walter at each clandestine meeting with Donna. Donna would simply shake her head in response. "Yes, he's still kicking. You'll be the first to know if anything changes. Once Walter is out of the picture, the whole city will be buzzing like a disturbed beehive. Just a little longer. This surgery will be his last," Donna assured her ex-husband. Jack snorted with contempt. If it were up to him, he would have sent Walter to the afterlife long ago. He had tried every trick in the book, from tampering with Walter's car wheels to meddling with the brakes, but to no avail. He even attempted to set fire to Walter's country house while he slept, but firefighters arrived too quickly to prevent significant damage. No matter how hard Jack tried, Walter carried on as if oblivious to the attempts on his life. In desperation, Jack turned to a fortune teller. Strange rumors circulated about her, claiming she possessed extraordinary powers. So Jack took the desperate step of consulting her. Despite being a hardened criminal, he felt a sense of unease in the fortune teller's dwelling. Annalise, a woman in her 50s, had all the typical attributes of her trade: brooches, crystal spheres, and various mystical trinkets. After hearing Jack's intentions, Annalise requested a photograph of the intended target. Jack readily handed her a picture of Walter. As she examined the photo, Annalise's expression grew serious, her fingers clenching so tightly that they inadvertently crumpled the edges of the picture. "Are you all right? Are you having some kind of fit?" Jack asked, his concern evident. But Annalise simply shook her head, explaining that she needed time. "Will it work for sure?" Jack inquired, his desperation clear. "I'm not paying in advance, so don't get your hopes up," Jack grumbled, his skepticism clear. The fortune teller nodded in agreement, but as soon as he rushed out of the house, Jack was drenched in cold sweat. Of course, he had deceived the fortune teller and had no intention of paying her for her services. What was she thinking, that I was going to pay for that? Jack thought, laughing to himself. He was pleased that Walter was now going to kick the bucket after the ritual. As the unfortunate lovers, Donna and Jack, awaited the businessman's demise, Kylie meticulously followed Walter's instructions, preparing for the event with Darcy's invaluable assistance. Watching Kylie try on one dress after another, Darcy couldn't help but smile warmly. The young orderly seemed ready to sweep the entire store, and any moderately decent outfit looked stunning on her slender figure. "Ah, only a pumpkin carriage and a coachman are missing," Kylie mused, admiring her reflection in the mirror. "Don't worry, your carriage and coachman will come," Darcy reassured her. All was well until Kylie arrived at the beauty salon for her appointment. That's when the trouble began. First, her nails were painted a dreadful swamp color. She was about to protest, but the beautician assured her that it was the latest fashion. Swallowing her pride, Kylie sat in the hairdresser's chair, only to face her biggest disappointment. She had wanted just a slight curl at the ends of her hair, reminiscent of her childhood, but was persuaded to dye it instead, leading to a shocking result. The beautician cunningly swapped the dye, leaving Kylie horrified by the color of her hair. "Oh my God, what have you done? I look like an alien. How am I supposed to go to the event now?" Kylie exclaimed, barely holding back tears. Unfortunately, Darcy was not there to support her, as she had rushed to the clinic where Walter was being prepared for surgery. "Let's see what we can do about that color, shall we? It seems there was a mix-up on our part, and for that, we truly apologize. You know, we're all human here. Mistakes can happen," the manager offered, her tone lacking warmth, despite having been briefed just hours earlier on how to handle such situations. I'm pressed for time. There's no way I can have it redone now. I've got a meeting in 30 minutes. Kylie rushed out, her frustration palpable as she hastily exited the unwelcoming salon. Stepping outside, the bizarre hue of her hair seemed even more pronounced under the daylight, drawing bewildered glances and murmurs from passers-by. Resigned to her fate, Kylie quickly dialed for a cab, knowing every minute counted. In a different part of town, Mark was barely containing his glee as he recounted the incident to his mother over the phone. "You should have seen it, Mom. It was priceless." "Ah, that's my boy," Donna praised, her voice laced with mischief. "A big shout out to our little helpers at the salon too. Remind me to send them a token of our appreciation. But remember, the game's not over yet. We need to keep piling on the pressure, just like Walter planned." Their scheming was momentarily overshadowed by a call Donna received from James Wellington, bearing news that Walter was soon to undergo surgery. The implications were clear. The inheritance they'd been eyeing was nearly within their grasp. Meanwhile, Jack, learning of the latest developments from his ex-wife, couldn't help but feel a surge of anticipation. The prospect of no longer sneaking around to meet Donna was tantalizing. Kylie's ride to the imposing estate took longer than anticipated, but as the taxi wound its way closer, the sheer beauty of the location struck her. The sprawling property nestled by the river and flanked by lush woods was breathtaking. "Isn't it something?" she murmured, her earlier vexations momentarily forgotten as she took in the scenic view. "You've got that right," the taxi driver agreed, eager to join in the conversation. "Heard it's quite the haven for the elite, what with its dual swimming pools, tennis courts, and not to mention a bar and dance floor. Quite the setup, eh?" Kylie couldn't help but nod, her mood lifted slightly by the grandeur of her destination. As the taxi came to a halt at the grand entrance, the driver turned to Kylie with a reassuring smile. "Here we are, miss. Should you need a lift later on, just give me a ring. I'll make sure to get back here as fast as I can." Kylie offered a polite nod, her mind elsewhere as she handed over the fare. She stepped out, her attention immediately captured by the vast gates swinging open to reveal the sprawling estate within, a veritable playground for the affluent. No sooner had she entered than she encountered a group of young guests, their eyes quickly drawn to her distinctive hair. Instead of the anticipated mockery, their reactions took her by surprise. "Incredible style. That's a bold move, breaking away from the norm like that. We love it." The warmth in their voices eased Kylie's initial apprehension, her cheeks warming with a mix of embarrassment and unexpected pride. The group's genuine admiration for her daring choice was a welcome contradiction to her fears. "Thanks," Kylie responded, her voice laced with newfound confidence as she allowed herself to be swept into the lively atmosphere. Surrounded by peers who seemed to see past the trappings of wealth, she felt an unexpected sense of belonging. The evening unfolded with joyous abandon, dancing, mingling, and partaking in the riverside revelries. Yet amidst the festivities, an unforeseen disruption loomed. Mark, fueled by a mix of alcohol and a misguided sense of purpose, made his way to the estate with intentions that promised to shatter the night's harmony. His entrance was nothing short of dramatic. Seizing the moment and the microphone on the stage, he commanded the crowd's attention with an air of scandalous anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen, a moment please. What you're about to hear will undoubtedly intrigue you. Among us tonight is a master of deception, a pretender weaving lies." With a dramatic pause and a pointed finger, he singled out Kylie, casting a shadow over her newfound joy. Kylie's face drained of color as Mark's accusations echoed through the crowd. His voice oozing confidence, he spun a tale of deception, casting Kylie as a con artist preying upon the elite. His words rippled through the crowd, transforming admiration into suspicion and disdain. The shift was palpable. The air grew heavy with judgment. The once welcoming faces now bore looks of scorn, their eyes piercing through Kylie as if she were a spectacle of deceit. Overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, Kylie struggled to regain her composure. Kylie felt tears carving hot trails down her cheeks, each drop a testament to her humiliation and despair. Her heart thrashed against her chest, seeking escape from the torment of public shame. Driven by an urge to flee, to find solace in solitude, Kylie stumbled toward the river, her path marked by the cruel laughter of her peers. Yet, in her turmoil, she found a strange solace in the thought of the river's cool waters, imagining them as a purifying force capable of erasing her pain. As she neared the water, murmuring to herself about cleansing and escape, Darcy's voice shattered the night. "Kylie, stop. Please don't." Gasping for breath, Darcy reached the riverbank, her eyes wide with concern. "Kylie, listen to me. Walter, he's left you everything. His entire estate, his business, it's all yours now." Kylie paused, the water lapping at her chest, as Darcy's words sank in. Confusion clouded her mind. Walter's will, his business, why? How does that change anything now? Darcy's grip tightened, her resolve clear. "We need to get out of here, Kylie. There's so much you don't understand yet, but I promise we'll figure it out together." In that moment, amid the chaos and the cold embrace of the river, Kylie faced a choice. A chance to retreat from the brink and confront the bewildering turn her life had taken. Darcy's words tumbled out in a rush, a mix of urgency and revelation. Donna and her accomplice, they planned to end Walter's life. Even if he had survived the surgery, they wouldn't have stopped, all for a cursed inheritance. Kylie struggled to process Darcy's sudden outpouring. The scornful laughter from the party still echoed in her mind, a cruel reminder of her swift fall from grace. Her heart pounded, the pieces of the puzzle slowly beginning to fit together as Darcy continued to unravel the story. Particularly after news of Walter's successful surgery reached them, the narrative took an unexpected turn with the introduction of Annalise, the fortune teller. The connection between her and Walter traced back to an unlikely encounter on a talk show a decade prior. The show had pitted rationalists, scientists, and engineers against believers in the supernatural, with Annalise among the latter. The debate had been intense. Tensions peaked during a fiery exchange between Annalise and one of the scientists, veering into personal attacks. It was Walter's intervention that left a lasting impression on Annalise. Rising in defense of respectful discourse, he refused to partake in a debate that demeaned its participants for their beliefs. Annalise couldn't recall the specifics of their argument, but Walter's demeanor throughout the show had struck a chord with her. Unlike others, he had shown her respect, not dismissing her beliefs outright, a rarity in her experience. Walter's stance of mutual respect amidst a heated debate had not only earned Annalise's admiration, but also sparked a friendship that endured beyond the show. Though their paths diverged when Annalise left for abroad, leading to a loss of contact. Kylie felt tears carving hot trails down her cheeks, each drop a testament to her humiliation and despair. Her heart thrashed against her chest, seeking escape from the torment of public shame. Driven by an urge to flee, to find solace in solitude, Kylie stumbled toward the river, her path marked by the cruel laughter of her peers. Yet, in her turmoil, she found a strange solace in the thought of the river's cool waters, imagining them as a purifying force capable of erasing her pain. As she neared the water, murmuring to herself about cleansing and escape, Darcy's voice shattered the night. "Kylie, stop. Please don't." Gasping for breath, Darcy reached the riverbank, her eyes wide with concern. "Kylie, listen to me. Walter, he's left you everything. His entire estate, his business, it's all yours now." Kylie paused, the water lapping at her chest as Darcy's words sank in. Confusion clouded her mind. Walter's will, his business, why? How does that change anything now? Darcy's grip tightened, her resolve clear. "We need to get out of here, Kylie. There's so much you don't understand yet, but I promise we'll figure it out together." In that moment, amid the chaos and the cold embrace of the river, Kylie faced a choice, a chance to retreat from the brink and confront the bewildering turn her life had taken. Darcy's words tumbled out in a rush, a mix of urgency and revelation. Donna and her accomplice, they planned to end Walter's life. Even if he had survived the surgery, they wouldn't have stopped, all for a cursed inheritance. Kylie struggled to process Darcy's sudden outpouring. The scornful laughter from the party still echoed in her mind, a cruel reminder of her swift fall from grace. Her heart pounded, the pieces of the puzzle slowly beginning to fit together as Darcy continued to unravel the story. Particularly after news of Walter's successful surgery reached them, the narrative took an unexpected turn with the introduction of Annalise, the fortune teller. The connection between her and Walter traced back to an unlikely encounter on a talk show a decade prior. The show had pitted rationalists, scientists, and engineers against believers in the supernatural, with Annalise among the latter. The debate had been intense. Tensions peaked during a fiery exchange between Annalise and one of the scientists, veering into personal attacks. It was Walter's intervention that left a lasting impression on Annalise. Rising in defense of respectful discourse, he refused to partake in a debate that demeaned its participants for their beliefs. Annalise couldn't recall the specifics of their argument, but Walter's demeanor throughout the show had struck a chord with her. Unlike others, he had shown her respect, not dismissing her beliefs outright, a rarity in her experience. Walter's stance of mutual respect amidst a heated debate had not only earned Annalise's admiration, but also sparked a friendship that endured beyond the show. Though their paths diverged when Annalise left for abroad, leading to a loss of contact. The wealth could provide, yet destiny held a twist. Not only did Walter survive the precarious surgery, but he also began a gradual journey toward recuperation, altering the course of many lives in the process. Kylie breezed into Walter's hospital room, her vibrant smile a stark contrast to the sterile environment, her cleaning tools conspicuously absent. "Guess I should start calling you Dad now, huh, Mr. Clark?" she quipped, perching herself on the edge of the bed with a playful grin. Walter couldn't help but comment on her unique hairstyle, though he tactfully restrained himself. "That's quite the unique look you've got there," he managed, his tone laced with amusement. Rolling her eyes with a good-natured chuckle, Kylie responded, "Let's not add to the commentary, shall we? I'm planning a dye job tonight to correct this disaster." Their conversation meandered through the recent whirlwind of events, a shared reflection that brought both comfort and disbelief. Walter's hospital stay extended over the next fortnight, during which Kylie resumed her regular duties, albeit with a myriad of new thoughts swirling in her mind. On the eve of Walter's discharge, Kylie found herself summoned to the head doctor's office. James presented her with documents to sign, offering no explanation. Kylie's confusion was palpable. "It seems you're no longer on the hospital staff, Rogers," James finally disclosed. The revelation unfolded as Kylie learned of Walter's request to appoint her as his personal caretaker for his home recovery. The contract before her detailed her responsibilities and remuneration, leaving her speechless. As Walter navigated his recovery, he initiated divorce proceedings and took a firm stance against aiding his stepson, Mark. Following another incident of impaired driving, a police investigation into the accident unearthed a chilling discovery: blood stains on the car's bumper with DNA matching a recent hit-and-run victim. The victim's identity brought an unexpected twist to the tale, revealing him as the owner of Mickey, the dog Kylie had rescued. This strange twist of fate left Kylie in contemplation, marveling at the unpredictable turns life could take, guided by the unseen hand of coincidence and destiny. During her visits to Walter's residence, Kylie found her role as a caretaker somewhat superfluous. Walter was largely self-sufficient, his recovery progressing well enough that he required little in the way of physical assistance. It became apparent that his decision to employ Kylie was more about companionship than care, a fact they both silently acknowledged each evening as her time to depart approached. Kylie would offer Walter a warm smile, excusing herself with a gentle reminder of her responsibilities at home. "I better head back," she'd say with a hint of reluctance. "My grandma needs me." On one such evening, a week into this routine, Walter, feeling a connection and yearning for a sense of belonging, tentatively broached a subject that had been on his mind. "Kylie, would you mind if I joined you tonight? I'd love to meet your grandmother," he inquired, his voice laced with hopeful curiosity. Kylie, taken aback by the unexpected request, hesitated for a moment before a genuine smile broke through her surprise. "Of course, Walter. I think she'd love to meet you too," she responded, the warmth in her voice dispelling any remaining uncertainty. That evening unfolded into a cherished memory for Walter, a stark departure from the sterile isolation of his recent past. Kylie's modest mobile home radiated a warmth and authenticity he found deeply comforting. Together, they savored hot chocolate under the night sky, enveloped in a tranquility that Walter realized he had been missing. For the first time in a long while, he felt a genuine sense of home, a feeling he had long thought lost to him. As they sat in the cozy living room, Kylie's grandmother, Monica, proved to be an engaging conversationalist. Her keen insights and warm demeanor made the evening all the more enriching. After Walter shared his experiences, a thoughtful silence settled over them, Monica's contemplative gaze hinting at the wheels turning in her mind. Sensing the direction of her thoughts, Walter ventured, "You're thinking about Annalise, aren't you?" Monica looked up, a hint of surprise in her eyes. "How did you guess?" Walter offered a knowing smile. "Sometimes it takes just a little push to see what's right in front of us." It was clear they were both drawn to the memory of Annalise, their unexpected reunion on the talk show, her pivotal role in unveiling the treachery that surrounded Walter, and the undeniable connection that had resurfaced between them at the clinic. Just then, Kylie breezed back into the room, a tray of sandwiches in hand, and quipped, "Should I get ready to play another part in this unfolding drama?" Walter chuckled, shaking his head. "I think we've had our fill of masquerades for now, but I could use your keen eye for fashion tomorrow," Walter remarked. The following day found Kylie, Monica, and Walter embroiled in a shopping expedition unlike any Walter had experienced before. The store became their playground, with Kylie and Monica enthusiastically urging Walter to try on an array of outfits, many far removed from his usual choices. Though initially out of his element, Walter found himself enjoying the process, buoyed by the laughter and light-hearted banter. In the end, as he looked at his reflection transformed and refreshed, he couldn't help but feel that the time spent in the company of these remarkable women was entirely worth it. Walter's invitation to Annalise for dinner was framed as a belated gesture of gratitude, but the underlying sentiment was far deeper. The evening unfolded with a gentle sweetness, enveloped in the soft glow of candlelight and shared reminiscences of past encounters. As the night wore on, Walter playfully suggested, "Annalise, do you think you could read my future in my palm? Just for old time's sake." Amused by the request, Annalise took his hand in hers, her eyes scanning the lines with feigned seriousness. "I see a solitary figure on a beach, lost in thought, the weight of solitude in his stance," she narrated softly. Walter felt a pang of melancholy at her words, but Annalise continued, "But then, out of nowhere, a burst of joy disrupts the solitude, a playful ambush, and both tumble into the sand, their laughter brighter than the sun." Their laughter mingled, bridging the gap between jest and earnest affection. Drawn together as if by an unseen force, their lips met in a kiss that spoke of newfound hope and rekindled spirits. In the wake of that kiss, Walter and Annalise embarked on a new chapter together, their connection deepening with each shared day. Despite the passage of years, their love story was just beginning. Their wedding, a simple yet heartfelt ceremony in Walter's garden, was a testament to their journey. Surrounded by friends and the soft rustle of leaves, Walter stood before their gathered loved ones with a special announcement. The crowd hushed in anticipation as Walter, his voice tinged with emotion, shared his lifelong yearning for a family. His gaze found Kylie, and with a voice steady with sincerity, he asked, "Kylie, would you honor us by becoming part of our family as our daughter?" The question hung in the air, a moment suspended in time, until Kylie's affirmative response sealed the bond of this newly formed family. In the days that followed, Kylie and Monica made their home with Walter and Annalise, their lives intertwining in a tapestry of shared meals, laughter, and the everyday joys and challenges of family life. Together, they built a haven of love and acceptance, a testament to the unexpected paths that lead to the families we choose.